No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Manouk. With Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets' riveting victory 2-1 over the Arizona Coyotes, a barn burner in downtown Winnipeg that undoubtedly left every single fan in attendance wanting more. Or maybe not. It was a hockey game. The Jets got a win that they needed to have, but there's really
it was like a playoff game tonight, boys. Had that feel, had that energy. How many times was the Jets power play booed tonight? Like Dave M was in the building, so he would know. Like you can hear it on the TV broadcast, but yeah, there were at least 2 power plays where fans were booing. Like it's unbelievable when your power play is already rock bottom and somehow it goes 0 for 6. Like it almost defies logic at this point.
0 for 6 against not a juggernaut of a penalty kill. I believe the 23rd ranked penalty kill in the NHL, if I'm not mistaken. Look, this was the Jets get the win. So we start with that. It was a game they had to win. But
it was a game and it was a win, and that's about it.
That's about it. You're not really taking a lot more out of this, and you're not saying, there's a lot of reason for optimism or a reason to plan a parade or even to think that, the better days are ahead. It's a win. It's that simple. It's a win. You sort of hold your nose, but it's a win. And for a team that desperately needed a win, Dave M., the Jets will take it. But I don't think they're going to be celebrating too vociferously as a result of that victory.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it's not as if the Jets were favored courtesy of our friends at Betway, but it's interesting because if you look at who the hotter of the 2 teams were, it's definitely the Coyotes. 6-2-2 in their last 10 games. They've won
4-2 in their last 8.
Well, I was going to say they've also won 4 straight. So it was Arizona that is feeling good about themselves. I believe it was 6 in a row at home. At Mullet Arena. So if you have a mullet, they're feeling comfortable back in Arizona. But the reality is, in the Jets, we've documented on each and every one of these post-game shows what's been happening with the Jets. So of course we know we don't need to go into that, but the Jets haven't exactly come in here, like a juggernaut, but Arizona hasn't been a very good road team. And it looked like that was, the odds makers made a lot of sense based on that first period, because the Jets looked like they were going to roll to an easy victory, but we should have known that it would nothing with these Jets is ever that simple.
No, and the thing is, the Jets I think were lucky to escape that second period without there being more damage done. Like Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, and Barrett Hayton were absolutely dominating in that second period. Not so much in the third period, but I mean, and Keller, Schmaltz, that's a Keller, Schmaltz, and Hayton. If I can get the 3 names out of my mouth, that's a legitimate top line, boys, right? Like Hayton was a 5th overall pick. Keller was Dave 7th. He was a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Nick Schmaltz was a late first round. So you've got 3 first round picks, but these are good NHLers now. Like Hayton's obviously the youngest of the 3, like former world junior hero. We all remember what he did for Team Canada a few years back, right? But I mean, this was just not good enough, guys. Like it's good enough, like Drew said, in the sense that you get the 2 points, but it's not good enough in the way you got it done. And it's so funny, right? Because, for all that talk about how well the Jets were playing, against a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, but they just didn't get the results and they just didn't get the bounces. Like this was just putrid at times, right? And yeah, they held on in the third period, but that's really all that they were doing, right? So it's watching the game, it's really tough to understand how there's such a lack of emotion right now on this Jets team. And there's less than a month to go in the season, right?
There's 10 games to go. I mean,
that's 10 games to go, and you just don't feel it. Like you just don't feel, the urgency. And again,
like
you
get playing out the string. Sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. No, you're right. It feels like a team that is just going through the motions. And it's really hard to believe, you know, considering that you're coming off of that really disappointing loss in St. Louis, right? So you would have thought that, you know, I thought that the Jets were going to put 4 or 5 past Vermelka. And it's not like Vermelka was really that great tonight. Like he was okay.
Yeah.
But he wasn't excellent like he has been in the past. So it's really hard to believe how the Jets could come out with that effort tonight at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, you know, they had a good first period. They had a good third period. So they, you know, and now that third period is certainly aided by the fact that, you know, the Coyotes had, you know, just under 8 minutes worth of penalties in that third period. The Jets, of course, couldn't capitalize on any of that because, you know, expecting a power play goal would be foolhardy at this point in time from the Winnipeg Jets. And we'll get to that. But, you know, you wonder what happens, you know. That second period was so one-sided. I mean, I just don't know how you play a second period like that. And yeah, you're up 2-0 after 20, and you're feeling good about that. But don't you just want an easy victory at some point in time if you're this Winnipeg Jets team? I mean, you're more talented than the Coyotes. I don't think anybody's going to quibble with that. And then that's the effort that you come forth with in a second period.
And in the third period, Drew, like Liam O'Brien takes that high sticking penalty.
Yeah.
As an aside, what were they reviewing there? Like, wasn't that as clear a double minor for high sticking, Drew, as you could? Like, what are they reviewing? How much blood there was?
Oh, and again, to your point there, because I was curious about that as well. As far as I know, and unless the rules have changed and they haven't publicized this change, and it's probably worth asking, you can only review it when a major is called. So you can't review a double minor.
No.
Unless they've changed that rule and not told anybody. And, you know, I'll send a note to our buddy Josh Smith at Scouting the Refs, because he tracks this stuff closer than I do. But, you know, this is multiple times now where we've seen reviews of double minors. Which, again, and it's fine. If they want to review it, and if that's the rule, then fine. It doesn't bother me. Review all you want. But I just don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's just a waste of time. Like, you know, and to be honest with you, like if I'm the Jets, like I wouldn't be happy with that because I would want to get the power play going. Like, you know, you're kind of losing a little bit of momentum there. But
what
the
momentum?
point is, Dave,
power play.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like
over 19
early in the third period, and they did absolutely nothing with that double minor. Like if this was you know earlier in the season, the first 30-35 games, the Jets would have scored at least a goal. It's like, how many different ways can you say that the Jets power play is struggling? Like, and not only is it struggling, it doesn't really show any signs of improving. It's really mind-boggling, Dave. It's reaching the point, and the Jets will score eventually. Like they could easily score in their next game against the Ducks. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't put any money on that. But
you wouldn't bet a shoe lick on it or a boot lick on it?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm glad I'm not going to have to lick your boots, especially after you went walking around your neighborhood, stepping in all that dog excrement, Drew. But I'm just, you know, I just don't know what else there is left to say about how bad the power play is struggling. And like you said, how bad the Jets came. They were just, you know, the best word I think I would describe about word I would use to describe that second period for the Jets was flat.
Well, you know,
and sorry, Brent Bellamy's got a good point here I want to highlight because he's right. The only good thing that came out of the power play was that it killed the clock.
Yeah,
because they managed to kill 4 minutes in that third period. Because I mean,
more than that, remember the double.
The double minor and the other one. Yeah, you're right.
Well, they had four. They had 8 minutes, just under 8 minutes worth of penalties in that third period.
Right.
I mean, you're forgetting.
Sorry, the power play is so forgettable. I forgot that they had power plays.
Kesselring took the penalty. He took that holding penalty at the 3-minute mark. Jets did nothing, although that was probably their best looking power play. Then Liam O'Brien takes the double minor, and then Valimaki at the end of the game for just under, for 2 minutes
on Appleton.
Yeah, 2 minutes less 17 seconds.
Sorry, but I mean, look, it doesn't really matter. I mean, at this point, it's just and like the assertion that Brad Lauer not being around is somehow is changing things. I mean, first of all, it's not as if Brad Lauer's in another country. I mean, he's available to the team. Right. He's been with the team as far as I can remember. He was on the bench for a number of games. I didn't even notice it, to be honest with you. Actually, I asked Colby to take some isolation shots of the coaches today. So we'll
ask Torts next time I see him, Dave.
Yeah, we'll ask and find out if Brad Lauer was on the bench. I didn't notice him on the bench, so it's possible he's not necessarily healthy again, and maybe needs to take some time off not being on the bench. And I know he's not on the ice at practices, but I mean, guys, he can watch the video and he can go over it. These guys are all just constantly having conversations. So it's not as if they don't have him available to them in order to discuss what he'd like implemented on the power play. And again, it's not as if you're creating something that is, out of left field. And it's not, this is game 73 of the season, right? Or 72 of the season. So if this is game 72 of the season, what new dimension to the power play are you trying to add that wasn't there and wasn't available, going back to when Brad Lowry got injured, which is, let's say 3 weeks ago around game 60 something. So the previous 60 games, I'm pretty sure that power play was the one that Brad Lauer instituted and they were working with. Now, again,
maybe if there's a second puck on the ice, that would help. Like,
maybe they need 7 or 8 guys. I don't know.
We have talked this to death on the Saturday show, right? Like, we have talked about the personnel and what we think they need to do. But Dave is 100% right. The Jets have an entire coaching staff. They have an entire infrastructure here. Like, they need to figure this out. And if the playoffs started today, the Jets are playing Vegas. I honestly, if they're playing like this, I honestly don't think it matters who they play in the first round. They'll lose.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, look, they were tooth and nail to beat the Arizona Coyotes after failing to beat the San Jose Sharks not that long ago. I mean, this team is just desperate for a victory any which way they can get it. When was the last time they controlled a game? They controlled the first period tonight, yes.
Maybe that Edmonton game?
Well, even then they didn't.
I don't even know if you would say they controlled that.
Maybe Dave and I talked about it. Dave and I talked about it. It was the game as the Saturday night game against the Chicago Blackhawks that started at 9:00 right after the holiday break, the All-Star break.
Right.
Yeah. That was the last time the Jets controlled the game top to bottom and had.
That was over a month ago.
Well, it was almost 2 months ago now, but not quite 2 months ago, but you're right, over a month ago. That was the last time they had what would be a quote unquote easy victory. And you thought that maybe tonight was going to be that easy victory. They get the early goal. We'll get into it. They get the shorthanded goal. You're feeling good about yourself at 2-0 after 20 minutes. And you just, is it an arrogance? I really don't know what it is. Like, they have no reason to be arrogant.
Well, as per Rick Bonus's presser from this morning, I was looking at body language I was becoming a body language expert, trying to read the body language of the players to determine how they were feeling, what they were thinking.
And Dave's obviously joking, but I said to Dave, during the third period, the way they were coming off the ice, it looked like they had just, lost the game 7-0. Or just looked like they lost the team puppy, right? Like, you get out there and you find that dog. If anybody knows they're Billy Madison, right? But no, it's really, inexplicable as far as I'm concerned. I thought, the effort in the first period was going to continue, because you're right. I mean, the Ehlers goal, the Lowry goal, they were nice goals. And you mentioned arrogance. I mean, I don't have the answers anymore. I really don't. I didn't have the answers for the last few weeks, and it's really hard to understand again. And we're talking about a win here, boys.
Right.
Like, the Jets won the game and they got 2 points that they needed because Nashville won tonight. I think they won 6-3, right? The Flames are up 2-0 right now. So again, they're not going to gain any points on the Flames or Predators. And I still maintain, by the way, and it seems like I'm in the minority here, but I think the Jets will make the playoffs. But they're still going to probably have to win at least 5 of their last 10 games. And that's really not a guarantee at this point, because even though they have an easy schedule, you do have the Kings on Saturday. The Kings just absolutely, who did they just pump? They pumped the Flames, right?
Yeah. Pump the Flames 8-2.
Right. So, I mean, that's going to be a hard game. So, they're going to have to flip a switch. That's the only way, because they're playing so poorly right now. It's hard to imagine we're going to see any different results coming up. Like, I'm not saying that they're not going to beat the Ducks. I'm not saying, that they're not going to have a chance against the Kings. I'm just saying that, it's really mind-boggling how, that second period was that bad, considering that the first period went, by all accounts pretty well.
Yeah, that's just it. It's just, if you match your performance from the first period in the second period, I'm not even talking about getting the 2 goals, but if you just have the same level of commitment and performance and everything else, you're going to win this one relatively easily. You just are. And instead, I mean, the Jets made the Coyotes look like the Boston Bruins. I mean, that second period, it was like, what am I watching? This is hard to imagine, but that's what it was. And the Jets are, they were fortunate to get out of the second still with the lead. Now they had a better third period, aided significantly by Coyotes' penalty troubles. But when it's a 1-goal game, fluky things can happen in a 1-goal game, and the Jets needed an easy victory just to boost up the confidence a little bit, and they still couldn't get themselves that despite having opportunity after opportunity handed to them. Let's get into it. It's the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by our friends at Betway. Dave is sporting the Betway hoodie tonight. Betway is one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. We welcome, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, but Wonk is joining us from Argentina tonight. So nice. Wonk, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. We are worldwide, as you all know, between John Chan in Singapore and Wonk Pasa joining us from Argentina. So wherever
Messi, baby, the greatest of all time.
Wherever you're tuning in from, welcome and thanks for joining us here on the Illegal Curve post.
That's a country I've always wanted to visit, Argentina. I mean, there's a lot of countries. I'm not as well-traveled as you boys are. Like Drew has been to Colombia, Dave's been to China, among other countries. But yeah, Argentina is right up there, one of the greatest soccer countries in the world, and just looks beautiful. So
there you go. As these travel advice is our new segment here on the program, brought to you by whatever travel
Regina.
Yeah, whatever travel agent wants to join us. Nikolai Ehlers opens the scoring for the Winnipeg Jets at the 4:17 mark of the first period. It's an unassisted goal. Look, if you turn over the puck at the blue line and Nikolai Ehlers is coming in on a breakaway, good things are often going to happen. And the first save was made by Vejmelka, but Ehlers got his own rebound and put it top shelf to give the Jets a much-needed early 1-0 lead, Ezzy.
Yeah, and look, we all saw the goal. Nick Ehlers was so pumped up, saw the fight last game. He's a guy that obviously, hasn't been scoring at the rate he would like to, but you love the fact that Vejmelka makes the first save and then Ehlers just follows it and bangs in the rebound, right? And, he capitalized on a turnover, right? He creates this goal all himself. So it's exactly what you want to do in the first, 5 or 6 minutes of the game. So you got to love that from Ehlers. I mean, the goal scoring struggles of the top 6, we talked a lot about it on the Saturday morning show. Mm-hmm. And so that's exactly what the Jets needed at that point in the game, but just great individual play by Ehlers there, Dave.
Yeah.
It was indeed as, and that's exactly what the Jets needed. Was the Jets needed someone from the top 6 to kind of drag this team into the game, right? And get the fans going. And look, the fan energy was good to start the game, and this was a historic game as I noted before the start of puck drop, because the Jets actually, with game 903, have now officially, as and Drew, played more hockey games than the Atlanta Thrashers. In the Jets, of course, this was their 12th season, or is their 12th season. The Thrashers had 11. The Thrashers lost 1 to a lockout. The Jets lost half of 1 to a lockout, and then 2 to pandemic. So this was game 903 on the Jets calendar for them. And I lost my train of thought because I got so excited to be able to share that little tidbit with you guys. But no, I mean, look, you needed Nikolai Ehlers to get this team into the game, and that's what he did. And you're right. It's nice anticipation by him. And it's a nice follow-up. And it's kind of funny because, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'm still trying to figure out what Kevin Stenlund did on Dylan DeMello's breakaway opportunity, where Kevin Stenlund saw DeMello going. And maybe he tried to hold up the Coyote on that, what could have been a 1-on or 2-on-0, but really he would have been trailing and had a chance to pop in a rebound. But Nikolai Ehlers, good for him for popping in his own rebound and getting the crowd excited and animated in this game.
And
Yeah.
just wanted to add one more thing,
Go ahead.
Drew. Like
Yeah.
it was Christian Fischer. I had to go back and look at Christian Fischer. The puck comes in. I think he might have just come onto the ice, Dave. You might have seen that better because you were in the press box tonight. But it's Fischer that causes the turnover. But the funny thing about that breakaway is it was a long breakaway, but Ehlers was going at like quarter speed there, right? Like he could have almost, with how fast he is, he almost could have just glided in. But again, that goal is all about the second effort. But I just thought I wanted to point that out, that that was maybe one of the slower breakaways that we've ever seen from Ehlers.
Well, it actually is probably fortuitous in that sense that he was he was under control. He wasn't at reckless speed, because not to say that reckless speed is necessarily a bad thing, but had he been going 100 miles an hour, let's say, he probably isn't in position to be able to bank in that rebound after Pavelski made the original save, because he was under control with his speed. And Ehlers under control with speed is still faster than whomever is chasing him. Significantly faster.
Ehlers is faster than all of us stationary, Drew.
That's very true there. No, I think you mean Ehlers stationary is faster than all of us moving.
I think that's what
you meant.
I think that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you meant. But anyways,
I talk good.
Oh yeah, you speak good. Your brain speaks good, Inger. Ehlers opens the scoring, so it's a good start for the Winnipeg Jets. They get an all-important first goal for a team that's been struggling to get that opening goal, and they get it tonight. Jets make it 2-0. It'll take all of 7 minutes and 16 seconds later. It's a shorthanded goal. They can't score on the power play, but I guess they can score shorthanded. Adam Lowry, his 10th of the season. I believe that is his second shorthanded goal of the year as well. If I saw
10th of his career.
Third
yeah.
Third of the season. Morgan Barron and Neil Pionk with the assists on this one. And it's just a sort of a textbook 2-on-1. Barron collects the flip pass by Pionk, and I'm really not entirely sure what happened to the Coyotes' structure on this power play, that they somehow managed to, just that Pionk just has the time to flip it up, and then there's just nobody around Barron and Lowry on this one. It's a great pass by Barron, tape to tape to Lowry, Dave, but just odd coverage by the Arizona Coyotes. And odd might be charitable. Poor coverage by the Coyotes.
Yes.
And the Jets certainly take advantage to make it 2-0.
Yeah, and you liked that Morgan Barron, and I saw some folks in the chat wondering why Barron's ice time was limited. And I went and I looked at the ice tracker on NHL.com to see if there was anything to indicate that he, after the fight he got into in the
That's what I was going to say, Dave. That had part of it to do with it.
Well, that did for sure. It had part of it because he was in the penalty box for 5 minutes. In fact, when Adam Lowry took his penalty, I was like, well, the Jets will have no problems because now they can have a shorthanded goal. But of course, Morgan Barron is in the penalty box, and now Adam Lowry is in the penalty box. So there goes that threat. But look, it's a beautiful pass by Morgan Barron, who's been playing better and better as games have gone along, and he's kind of cementing himself as a player who's, again, he's a young player, in his pro career, and he's looking more and more confident in his play. And I liked the fact that he didn't kind of fumble the puck. He waited. And as soon as he realized there was an opportunity, got it over to Adam Lowry. And Adam Lowry, look, good for him. He's heating up for Adam Lowry. I mean, that's 2 goals now in his last few games. And after going with 1 in 43 guys, I mean, for him, that's not a bad thing. And as I said, his 10th shorthanded goal of his career, he just trails Blake Wheeler in that department when it comes to shorthanded goals on this Jets club. So we know how good Adam Lowry has been when it comes to shorthanded opportunities. Mm-hmm. And it's such a huge momentum, right? I mean, the Jets now have, the goal from Mikael Ehlers. They've got the shorthanded goal. So there's a lot of excitement. And again, you've got the building buzzing, and they're playing a good first period, right? They're controlling the play. So everybody's thinking to themselves, what is this Jets team? Because, again, the Jets haven't gotten the results, but it's not as if they've played every game has been terrible, right? They've controlled a lot of games, but they haven't gotten the results. Now suddenly they're appearing to control the first period, boys, and getting the results, right? They've got a couple of goals. So now they've got a 2-0 lead. And so folks in the building, I think, are understandably getting a little excited, which could have been a little premature.
And, just another thing on this goal here, like Drew's completely right. Like the Coyotes are just slow, and they're too deep in the Jet zone. And I remember Lawson Krause was out there. So it was the Coyotes' second power play, right? Because the first power play, you've got, Schmaltz and Keller and Hayton. I believe those are the 3 forwards on the first power play unit. I would have to check daily faceoff, but they're just too deep there. And the thing is, it might have been Maselli who was on the forecheck, and so Pionk shakes him off. But what I wanted to say here is that it's a really impressive play by Pionk, because obviously Barron and Lowry, Dave, they take off, right? But where Pionk puts that, it's kind of like that flip, like the old Erik Karlsson. Like obviously wasn't as nice as the famous Karlsson, but like where he puts it is in a position where it's in front of Morgan Barron.
He can skate into it.
Right, exactly. So it's Pionk has been criticized a lot, and he scores the big goal in the game against Nashville, but this was a really nice play here, and Pionk gets it started. So I think Pionk deserves a lot of credit when he struggles, and I'm not saying that he didn't have his struggles in this game, but I'm just saying you got to give the guy credit here for the pass that he makes, and you also have to give Barron and Lowry the credit for converting the 2-on-1, right? Because for all the criticism of the Jets' lack of goal scoring and the fact that they're looking for the pretty plays and they're passing too much, I mean, they executed and they finished on this one. So even though that momentum, as Dave talked about, didn't carry over into the second period, that was a really nice goal, which obviously turned out to be the game winner.
Well, you talk about Morgan Barron, and he's been one of the Jets' more consistent players for the last number of weeks as the team has struggled. I would prefer him in an elevated role. Right now he's playing that fourth line role with Stenlund and Manalainen. I'm not sure why he's not moving up in the lineup.
I couldn't agree more.
I would have no problem with him where Mason Appleton is on that third line. Frankly, I wouldn't have a problem with him playing up there with on the second line. If you're going to keep Ehlers and Dubois together, I would put Barron with them and move Wheeler down. Now,
and he handled himself pretty well in that fight, by the way. Like Barron is not that type of player, but he's a big boy. Dave knows that.
Yeah.
And I think that, that obviously that fight had zero impact on the game, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. Like he handled himself well.
Look,
he won that fight.
If you want to reward the guys who are doing the things that you need the team to be doing, Barron is one of those guys who needs to be rewarded. And I think he's got some. I'd like to just see him get an opportunity playing with some more skill guys, because he deserves credit. He deserves.
And this is only his first full NHL season, right? Like last year was. What did he play in the NHL? 30 games, 40 games? I forget, but it wasn't a full NHL season. He's only 23, 24 years old, so he's only getting better here.
There's no reason why you can't move him up, drop Wheeler down, aside from politics or all the the noise that it might create, and move.
Speaking of politics, I got my $375 check from the province today.
Congratulations. How are you going to spend that? Or did you just hand it over to Naomi and say, here, dear, you spend this now?
I mean, it just goes to, it just goes into the Ginsburg family slush fund.
How's that slush fund coming? It's actually in the slush outside is where they keep the slush fund. It's just a fund of money they keep in a dirty snowbank. Very nice of you there, Ezzy. But anyways, my point being that I'd move Barron up, Wheeler bump him down. That'd be where he's better suited to be playing, and move Mason Appleton down. Again, Appleton is just too hit or miss for his contributions from my perspective, Dave.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I thought that Morgan Barron looked good when he played for the Moose in the playoffs. I think he's continued to, as I just said a few minutes ago, I think he's continued to rise to the opportunity, or rise to the occasion, and why he was dropped in the lineup was a bit inexplicable to me. But some of the decisions have been inexplicable to me as to the lineup's decisions by Rick Bowness, i.e., why he's not going with Ehlers, Connor, and Dubois, which has been his. As we've talked about, was such a good line for them early in the season.
If we see that, Dave, in the future, I think we need to have a party.
Well, I mean, it just
we have $375 that can go towards the party.
Exactly,
now.
I'm paying, boys.
Yeah. But it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you need goals. What have we talked about? This team has needed goals for a long time, and you can throw. I mean, Mark Scheifele's not going to complain if he's playing with Blake Wheeler and Nito Niederreiter. That gives him, a decent second line. So, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense why you, and even then your third line of Barron, Lowry, and Nemesnikov. I mean, that's a good third line. So you really do have like the opportunity. It doesn't make sense. Like I remember, and it's funny because the season, there's so much going on and there's always games. But I was trying to think to myself, like when he talked about this line and breaking them up and the idea of going back to them if needed. Well, Rick, It's
That
needed.
never happened.
It's needed right now. I mean, you need to score goals. Your team is not scoring. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure they always talk about it on that commercial. Got to score to win.
Jets lead 2-0
Hashtag
after.
insight.
Jets lead 2-0 after 20 minutes. A very good period for the hometown team, a period that they by and large controlled. They had the possession. They had 66.67% of the possession in that.
What about in the
period.
second period, Drew? How was that possession?
Not as good. Not as good. Slightly tilted in favor of the Arizona Coyotes. How about 84.85% possession for the Arizona Coyotes at 5-on-5 in the second period?
How do you explain that, right? Like, I would like to.
Arrogance.
I would like it. Honestly,
has to
like,
be.
what else is there? I really don't know, right? Like, it's really hard to believe, right? Like, it was. We all know, right? Like, Dave tweeted it either from his own account or the IC account, or maybe Drew, you tweeted it like 15 to 16 minutes or something like that without a shot at home in the second period against the Coyotes.
Yeah,
it's just like not acceptable. Like, it's not acceptable. People paid money to watch that game tonight.
Outshot 18-3 in the second period. I mean, that's just
look, guys, it wasn't the Boston Bruins.
Right.
And again, credit to the Coyotes for going on a bit of a run towards the end of the season. And to be honest with you, what are they doing? They're giving a shit, right? They're giving a shit.
They're just having some pride.
Guys are playing. And look, we all know guys play for contracts. Guys are playing for their, so they don't get relegated to the AHL next year. So I understand why teams care. But hello, the Jets should be as motivated as the Coyotes because it's your play again. You don't want to. How many times did we say anything you built up in those first 30 games, the 41 points that you accumulated? Those are long, long gone. You used that. Those dollars, they've been spent. Ezzy's 375 gone. It's blown through. So the reality is, you don't want to have to. You still are in a position where you don't have to scoreboard watch. You don't have to watch Nashville. You don't have to watch Calgary. But for that not to take place, you have to win hockey games, and you have to do it in a somewhat convincing fashion. And that's the skepticism. I mean, Rick Bowness was asked about it in his media availability this morning by Scott Billick of the Winnipeg Sun asked him, and basically said, like, what gives you confidence that this group is going to be able to do it? And I don't remember exactly how he said it. So if you want to, listen to that, a little site called illegalcurve.com, go to the pregame report. You can listen to Rick Bowness's response. But I mean, what gives you confidence, guys? I mean, what is the indicator that this team is, again, I don't want to contradict myself. The team has played better, really since that Edmonton game, the crazy 7-5 game. And I'm not giving them credit because they went up against Soupy Campbell, who had a few holes in his game, but
yeah, it's more like the Soupy Sales.
But the Jets did seem to, start playing a little bit better, in spurts at least.
But then they've regressed, Dave. The last 3 games have not been good, like the Nashville game included.
No, I agree. I know, and again, like I said, they've had moments, right? Like, and they've gone up against hot goaltenders, Marc-Andre Fleury, like they like their game. James Reimer, they like their game. So there's been instances where
your boy Swayman.
Well, Jeremy Swayman played out of his mind, and that's what his own coach said how good he was. Because it was funny. It was one of those games where, Ezzy, I said to you, I'm like, Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, you didn't really notice those guys. You didn't notice that they weren't taking over the games. It wasn't like the Jets got dominated by Boston. But again, what do we keep talking about? Your power play, 0 for 19. You went 0 for 5 against Boston. How much of a difference could that have made? You went 0 for 4 against Nashville. Fine, you won the game, right? What did they go against St. Louis? Were they 0 for 2, I think, against St. Louis?
No, Torrey Krug went crazy. Remember that early in that game they had
how many power plays? Yeah, but
but
overall,
they had 4 or 5.
Is it 0 for 4?
Yeah,
so
whatever.
Torrey Krug went what we call Meshuggah. That's what happened.
Exactly.
So the point is that you've got all of these, these are the opportunities that, we talk about, and you've got all this firepower, and you're doing absolutely nothing with it. And so that's the part that is killer, because I don't care if you dominate, the game. I don't care if you outchance your opponent. If you're taking these, you're squandering, kind of like the way the Jets have done. As you remember, the Jets were at one point, are the Jets going to finish first in the Central? Could the Jets finish first overall in the West? And they squandered that. And similarly, they're squandering these games because of the fact that their power play has been so abysmal.
You're right, Dave. So no argument with anything you said there. The Coyotes dominate the second period, as we discussed. The Jets just no-show the entire period. They're fortunate to only be down to only give up the one goal and still maintain the lead after 40 minutes. The Coyotes scored at the 11:46 mark of the second period after sending wave after wave after wave after wave after wave at the Jets. Barrett Hayton, his 15th assist to Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. It's just a good net front battle. They bang and hack and poke at a puck, and eventually Hayton is able to get it past Connor Hellebuck. We'd be remiss if we also didn't talk about the incredible save that Connor Hellebuck made a few minutes before this one.
Absolutely.
Just the sort of desperation, throwing his paddle out at the puck and knocking it away and making a great save. But again, that didn't phase the Coyotes. They just kept coming and coming and coming at the Jets, and the Jets had no answer for them. And the fact that the Jets didn't have an answer for the Arizona Coyotes, it should tell you all you need to know about how that second period went.
Yeah, I you know what? The Coyotes, I don't think are going to be very good next year, but like, I think you have to give them credit for at least that now they have an identity, and now they're a team that is tough to play against. We talked about it. They've won 6 of their last 8, right? Drew, I think you mentioned it, right? So like they were a laughing stock earlier in the season, but they've put together a good home record. And they almost tied this game up tonight against the Jets. And you're right. I mean, Hellebuck made the big save, but Hayton, Keller, and Schmaltz, like that line is really good. Schmaltz was a guy that we were talking about a week prior to the deadline as an option for the Jets. I know Dave, really liked that option for the Jets. So look, at Hayton's a good player, and Scheifele was a guy, on social media. I'm sure you guys saw it too. People in the chat are gonna, question what Scheifele was doing here, but really, to me, like it's the whole team here in their own zone. Like there's just too much stick checking. There's just too much, like it's just
flat-footed.
Exactly, like flat-footed, standing around, passive. Like Niederreiter's out there. It was Scheifele. I believe the entire line was out there. Scheifele, Connor, and Niederreiter, and it's just Schmaltz is kind of just dangling around in the zone, and like the puck's put on net. Like it's just like, again, it's just poor defensive coverage. And, so Barrett Hayton's on his knee and Scheifele's there, but he's just not hard enough on him. He's just not tying him up. He's not body checking. Like, how many body checks were there in this game, by the way? Like, I realized that, you weren't expecting this to be rock'em sock'em hockey. But, I mean, it just seemed like, especially in that second period, the Coyotes just entered the zone, did whatever they wanted. The Jets kind of sat back. Like on this goal, it was just, to me, way too loose in your own zone. And the Coyotes were just able to do, they were hanging on to the puck for way too long and were able to do too much. And the Jets just weren't hard enough defensively in that sequence.
I can't quibble with anything you said there, Ezzy. It was just an absolutely bewildering second period, Dave, especially given how you played the first period. And like I said, the only word that comes to my mind is arrogance, because I think they thought, well, we scored 2 in the first, that's enough. We don't need to play the second. To their credit,
we have people in Argentina that are saying that the Jets were terrible in the second period. Like, that's where this is international now, boys.
It's an international incident. The Jets play in the second period there, Dave. To their credit, they come back better in the third, but just that second period was just top to bottom, absolutely awful.
Oh, I mean, I was in the building, and it's funny, after watching that first period, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, let's see what happens in the second. I remember, and I'm sitting in the press box, and you're kind of, the shots also kind of creep up on you, right? You're kind of like, again, you're trying to pay attention to so many different things, and so many different things are happening. But I'm watching, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like one of those things that you're aware of, and you're like, wait, did the Jets not get a shot on their power play? Wait a second, did the Jets not have a shot since like the 5-minute mark of the second period? Like, what is going on to like have such poor control of a game? And I understand that you're going to get some pushback from a Coyotes team, but yeah, as he's right, like the defense in a total, and again, that's often what happens, right? Like, it's easy to pinpoint Mark Scheifele, because Mark Scheifele was not good defensively on that Coyotes goal. He's literally his head's, he's kind of swiveling around, but he's really not even looking where he's supposed to as the center, and he completely misses the man. And I mean, he's too little, too late at the point when he.
I thought DeMello too was he was wandering too. DeMello was left shot defenseman. He's one of the Jets' best defensive defensemen, if not the Jets' best defensive defenseman. But again, I mean, there's a lot of blame to share. To your point, Dave.
Well, and Ezzy, that's the point I'm making, is that, what we were saying the last few shows is, it's easy to pinpoint one guy and say, well, what was he doing? That, that's where the goal broke down. But as you said, and you're right, it's a whole totality of players that really broke down on that shift, which allowed Arizona to kind of have that opportunity. And in the end, you get burnt, and it makes Mark Scheifele look bad. But you're right, as there's a bunch of guys who you can hang that goal on and say, what were you doing? Where were you? Why weren't you in the proper position? And unfortunately for the Jets, that's happened a lot this year. And to their credit, they were able to lock it down for the rest of the game. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't an ideal second period by any stretch of the imagination, other than Connor Hellebuck's incredible save, the paddle save, which was phenomenal by him.
You're absolutely right. Worth noting, Mark Scheifele didn't register a shot in either of the first two periods, meaning he went 5 periods without getting a shot on goal for the Winnipeg Jets.
And that includes multiple power plays.
Yes, it does. It includes multiple power plays. That just can't happen. If you fashion yourself as a star in this league or an exceptional player, you can't go 5 periods without getting a shot. I forgot to mention, though, that Adam Lowry's goal in the first period, that is our Seagram's shot of the game. Seagram's VO, integrity, tradition, craftsmanship, all demonstrated by that goal by Adam Lowry in the first period. Big thanks to Seagram's for the sponsorship of the shot of the game and their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Seagram's products available at your local liquor mart or wherever fine liquor products are sold. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's. The third period, much better for the Winnipeg Jets. No goal scored by either team in the third period. Somehow the Jets managed to have 8 minutes of power play time in the third period, and they didn't register a goal. So that isn't good. The good part, of course.
No, sorry, Drew, to cut you off, which I tend to do every okay. 2 minutes, but not only did they not score any goals on those power plays, but can you remember any sequence in any of those power plays that stands out that you liked, or they were doing? That's the thing that's the
first power play in the third period where Kesselring was in the box for holding. That was the best the Jets power play has looked during this slump. No, it didn't.
Sorry, in the first period.
No, the third period. Kesselring's penalty early in the third period led to the Jets having, I thought, their best power play of the game, but it certainly didn't look. It didn't require Vejmelka to make any grade A saves or anything, but at least there was some movement.
They had control, and they had something going on. But it's unbelievable. Our buddy Garrett Hole was tweeting about this, as he does for most games. Just the difficulty on zone entries and just the difficulty getting it set up. And again, it almost at this point in the season, like Dave said, when you're 70 plus games into the season and you're still having trouble with the fundamentals of your power play. And look, they do have some time left, but even you guys know me, the glass half full guy, the most optimistic guy, really, when it comes to the Jets. I'm starting to lose a little bit of optimism here. I really am.
When you lose Ezzy's optimism, folks, you know that it's a real sincere problem.
And I still think, and you can go back and you can listen, I've been saying this for weeks, that I still think the Jets are going to hang on and make the playoffs here. But, like you said earlier, Drew, I think it was a good point that you made. It's one thing to win a game, but it's another thing to win a game ugly. And this was an ugly win.
It certainly was.
Coyote ugly.
Like that? Yeah, I did like that. That was very good. Possession for the Jets in that third period.
On the bar. Just go ahead. Keep going.
Thank you. We don't need you to recap the plot of Coyote Ugly. We all remember it.
I think Dave might have enjoyed, maybe Dave M and I will watch Coyote Ugly after the post-game show.
Dave,
that's going back 20 years now.
It's probably longer than that, but
Dave, Drew, can you name the actress?
Piper Parabo.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. But then again, after, Cocaine Bear, we got to give Drew credit. He's the, resident cinephile.
I'm glad you said cinephile. I could have gone any which way there otherwise. If you're looking for things to be positive about in the third period, you'd say the possession numbers, 3/4 in the Jets' favor, 75% to 25% in the third period. That's at 5-on-5. Never mind, of course, all the power play possession the Jets had. The Coyotes, really ran themselves into penalty difficulty, which helped the Jets hold on for the 2-1 victory tonight, Dave. Not impressive, not anything you're going to write home about, but they get the much needed win on home ice when they needed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you needed the 2 points in the standings bank, and that's what you did. And especially with Nashville winning and Calgary winning, or currently winning, we'll
3-1, they're up.
Yeah, I know. Drew loves the updates. So
hey, if you can give Moose updates, I can give out of town scoreboard updates when they're relevant to the Jets' place in the standings.
Sure, fair enough, absolutely.
Thank you.
But the point is that the Jets needed those 2 points, and so they got them, and they'll practice tomorrow. We'll have to find out. And I didn't see if there's anything on the old Twitter machine, Drew. So you'll have to provide an update if there's an update on Dylan Sandberg. The reason why, for folks asking, because some folks were asking why Kyle Capobianco was in the lineup against his former team. By the way, I'm pretty sure the Jets are undefeated when Kyle Capobianco is in the lineup. But
he played fine.
I know. But anyways, the point is that Dylan Sandberg blocked the shot today in morning skate.
Actually was one of the better defensemen for the Jets.
I know.
And the thing is, like, you know, that old cliche where sometimes when a defenseman's not noticeable, that's a good thing.
Exactly.
Like, I think that's a good thing for Capobianco. Like, he plays a rather, I think you'd agree, Dave, like a rather kind of basic, simplified game, but it's effective. So
hey, the Jets,
we hope. Yeah,
the Jets defense, Ezzy, the Jets defense could afford to, in totality, play a kind of boring, unnoticeable game. But yeah, Dylan Sandberg blocked the shot, so that was the reason. It wasn't certain, but and Rick Bowness hadn't indicated anything after the morning skate, but obviously he wasn't ready to go because Kyle Capobianco took warm up and played in the game, and Dylan Sandberg did dress. So I don't know if he addressed it post game, but
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, it was a rather small crew with Kenny out in Arizona and Mike in Vegas. So it was just Jeff and Murat and Scott post game. So we'll see if there's anything there. T Kona, don't worry, I will get one of those tomorrow morning from head coach Mark Morrison. T Kona Paul is asking for a Declan Chisholm update because the 2018 fifth rounder, even though the Moose won the game in Chicago, had a bad, unfortunate spill where he had to be helped off the ice. So we'll hopefully have an update on that tomorrow.
You mentioned Capobianco led all Jets defensemen in Corsi at 71.4%. So certainly a very solid performance.
How many games has he played, Drew?
I can look it up real quick. He hasn't played a lot, but in every game that he's played,
10?
he's been perfectly reasonable.
Oh, I didn't think he'd played that many, but I thought he's played at least 7. I thought it was like 5 to 7.
This year so far, he has played 11 so far this year.
Oh, Ezzy's right.
12.
Okay,
12.
Okay, but
12 includes tonight. So
maybe it's 12 tonight.
If this is Price is Right rules, give me the washer and dryer right now.
There you go. But
anyways,
for a guy that nobody really expected much of, he's been perfectly reasonable. Now I wonder if he gets more playing time if you see warts develop. But in those 12 games,
always a possibility.
Yeah, in those 12 games, he's been absolutely fine for the Winnipeg Jets, very serviceable in his very limited duties. Anyways, there's your Kyle Capobianco update for tonight. The Jets victorious 2-1.
He used to play for the Coyotes, by the way.
He did, yes.
I watched him play in Arizona at jobbing.com arena in front of just a beautiful, enthusiastic crowd. One of the better crowds in the entire NHL. It's like watching a game in a library.
A library that at that point in time, sat
a $200 million library.
Sat 15,000 people. Big. That's the Illegal Curve Betway game recap. That's what I'm trying to go for. Brought to you by our friends at Betway. A big thanks to them for their continued sponsorship of the Illegal Curve post game show. Betway. It's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Big thank you to Arian Amanze, who has decided to give us some money. We appreciate that and gave us a comment talking about Cocaine Bear as well. So there you go. Big thank you to Arian Amanze for his contributions here to the Illegal Curve.
So Arian gave us money to tell us that Cocaine Bear was a bad movie. He could have done that for free.
He could have, but he decided to be generous. Maybe you should be a little bit more generous there, Mr. Ginsburg. Now the
I've
slush fund is up.
I've got a fat check from Heather Stephenson. I'm good. I don't need $6.99. You can have that $6.99, boys.
The slush fund is up to $381.99 now, folks. So we're just rolling in the dough. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, more of our nonsense, including the controversy that is engulfing the city of Regina. You don't want to miss this one. It is good for some laughs. Much more to come. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Tuesday night. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
There's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 25 minutes before the top of the hour. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're live here on a Tuesday evening. We'll be back at it Thursday night. The Jets head out west for the final regular season West Coast trip that they're going to experience. I believe the game time is 9 o'clock Central Time on Thursday night, which means post-game will be about a late night 11:45 p.m.
I think Kenny Weeb is on Route 66 as we speak right now, boys.
He's I think he's at the southern mansion that Kenny has in beautiful Arizona, and he's going to be on the road trip as well, heading out west with the Winnipeg Jets as they play in Anaheim, LA, and San Jose. A bizarre road trip in that there are no back-to-backs. Usually you see some back-to-backs on this one, but there aren't any back-to-backs.
I'm not complaining, Drew.
Winnipeg Jets. I know you're not. It's going to be a late night on Thursday, and then I believe is it a Monday game that they play in San Jose, or
Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday, so it's Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday. So they actually got a fair bit of rest, and that Tuesday game is real late. That's not till a 9:30 Central Time start time. So
that's why Dave bought the bunk beds.
That's right. So you guys can just cuddle up together.
You got the aluminum bunk beds here.
You guys, I expect to see you guys in your pajamas doing the show together. Quick note from our buddy Scott Billick, who just was adding a little bit of fuel to the fire that is the poor Winnipeg Jets power play. 0 for 19 over their past 5 games. On those 19 power plays, the Winnipeg Jets have managed a grand total of 29 shots. That is terrible. That is less than 2 shots a power play. So just to tell you just how bad the power play has been, tonight they had 6 power plays, 8 shots total. Against St. Louis, 3 power plays, 5 shots. Against Nashville, 4 power plays, 5 shots. Against the Bruins, 5 power plays, 10 shots. So the power play struggles continue for the Winnipeg Jets. No better tonight, but nonetheless, they still managed to squeak out a victory over the Arizona Coyotes by a 2-1 margin. All important victory, but nonetheless, not a very impressive victory. Ezzy, Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Who is getting the prize for tonight's post-game show?
Well, first off, one of the better names, someone who is a frequent viewer, and we see the comments in the chat. Bob's videos, just like this comment, there you go, is from about 10 minutes ago. Took my wife to the game, and her only comment was, our 12-year-old's A3 hockey team look better than the 2 teams on the ice. I mean, I don't think it gets any more harder hitting than that. Yeah. I mean, like, and the reason why I like it is because the Coyotes weren't that great in the first or third periods, and then were completely dominant in the second period. So really everything about this game was just off. It was just terrible. So Bob's videos, send me an email with your real name, because Bob's videos is a cartoon, right?
That's Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers, right. And I'm not sure what Bob's videos is, but it's an awesome name, whatever it is. So send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, with your mailing address, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you. We've still got at least, a week, 2 weeks left of winter. It's been pretty cold in the mornings. Then it gets, pretty nice in the afternoon. So we'll, send you a toque, and you can wear that for, at least the next week or so. So Bob's videos, congrats. You are the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment winner for tonight.
There you go. Congratulations to Bob's videos. Here's a quote from Jets head coach Rick Bowness after tonight's game. That's 3 games with that team being the Coyotes, and they're all 2-1. Jets head coach Rick Bowness said they're hard to play against. Sometimes you give the opposition some credit. Give them credit for the second period. That third period, we played the right way. We did all the little things necessary. We controlled the pace of the game. We played on our toes, and we're a much harder team to play against. We were pressuring them all over the ice. That's Winnipeg Jets hockey. I guess
that obviously was not the same game that I was watching.
I think that the head coach.
Where was the pressure? I didn't.
And here's his quote about
keep reading these riveting quotes.
We stopped attacking. We got soft with the puck. Rick Bowness talking about the second period. They were fighting to get back in the game. We got hemmed in our zone a couple of shifts, which took all the steam out of our game. When that happens, someone has to get it and ice the puck and reset. We weren't even able to get it. It's funny, Bowness said. The second period, the bench, it got quiet. They could see what was going on. The third period, there was a lot of energy on the bench, and that took itself out on the ice. We had everyone going. The bench was really energized in the third. They knew what was at stake. They knew we had to find a way to win the game.
And that's why we scored 4 power play goals in the third period.
Ezzy, you are being very cynical, my friend.
Well, no, I mean, like, nobody can watch that game. Nobody, even the most optimistic Jets fan, couldn't watch that game and and provide that, summation of what happened out there. Yes, the Jets were better in the third period than the second period. It's because they were dog crap in the second period and were outshot 18-3 and didn't have a shot for 16 minutes. So, like, what do we like? And yes, Drew, like, coaches have to spin it in a team positive type of way. But I mean, come on. I mean, the Jets were pretty lucky to win this game tonight.
And more importantly, they won it on our boy Bruce's mom's birthday. So happy birthday to her.
Hopefully birthday she had boy Bruce mom.
Hopefully she had a great night, and she did, because she got to see her favorite players score. So great night for her. So we wish her a very happy Illegal Curve birthday, or birthday on behalf of Illegal Curve, I should say.
Okay, yes, exactly right. Let's do some contests before we get into the city of Regina. Dave, we have the Illegal
Don't show us anything, Drew.
I'm not going to. We have the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. The way that you enter the Illegal Curve merchandise contest is by going to the drop-down arrow on the YouTube channel, clicking the contest link. If you can't find it there, you go to our website, illegalcurve.com. You find the contest link there. You enter in the unique code word along with a whole list of other things you can do to get entries to win great Winnipeg Jets merchandise. The unique code word for the Illegal Curve contest, Dave M., what is the code word tonight?
Kirk Keelback. I want to give a shout out to Kirk Keelback. We had him on the show not that long ago, and every once in a while when they play a clip and you hear that voice, and if you were a Jets 1.0 fan or you just covered that team, back in the day, you couldn't help but think of his voice, Don Whitman's voice also, but Kirk Keelback's voice. So many classic, iconic calls. Made me lament, missing Dennis Bayak. I don't know why I was feeling, I wasn't thinking about the word of the unique code word, but I was thinking about Dennis today while I was walking around the press box. Maybe I'll send him a text, but he'll be like, how'd you get my number? But Kirk Keelback.
Dave M.
But Kirk Keelback was a classic. When we got him to say great save S's on that show, so that was like a highlight of being on Illegal Curve for me. But anyways, good for good one to remember, and always nice to remember some Jets 1.0 history, especially, like I said, in light of the fact that Jets 1.0 and Jets 2.0 played, and this was now the most they've ever played, more than the Atlanta Thrashers. And it's interesting that...
Isn't that crazy, Dave? Like, I realize this is year 12, but like, it's still crazy to think the Jets have been in Winnipeg longer than the Thrashers were in Atlanta.
Well, and it's interesting because, a lot of times people complain about, remembering Atlanta. And first of all, we respect the fact that there's still some fans who pay attention and support the Winnipeg Jets who are from Atlanta because they supported that team. Similar to the fact that some Jets fans, not many, I don't think, but some Jets fans still supported Phoenix when they were down there because of some of the players that were on how could you not support Teppo Numminen? You'd have to be a monster not to support Teppo. But the fact is, it's interesting because someone was asking, because oftentimes I will put facts out there saying, here's the Jets 2.0 and Thrashers, here's the Jets times the Jets, and here's just the Jets alone. But and say, how long do Jets have to keep mentioning the Thrashers? And I said, well, the NHL counts that. And they said, well, do they do that for anybody else? So I went and I looked. And actually, if you look at the season records for the Calgary Flames, they have the Atlanta Flames records there. If you look at the New Jersey Devils, Colorado Rockies, and the Kansas City Chiefs, actually, for 2 years.
Shout out to Chico Resch, Dave.
I think
exactly. So, well,
pretty sure they were the Kansas City Scouts, weren't they?
What did I say, Chiefs?
Yeah.
Well, obviously not the football team, but yes, Kansas City Scouts. And the point is, but I will say, by the way, the Colorado Avalanche, the original version, had the greatest jersey of all time. Lanny McDonald, that mustache, and those jerseys were amazing.
Yep. You mean the Colorado
Rockies? Rockies. Yeah, I'm getting everything wrong. Who cares? It's been a long week, and not like I got 17 games in a row coming up. But regardless,
yes.
Oh, I like the Colorado Avalanche jerseys too, especially when they wear the Nordiques ones. But it's all a mishmash. So, anyways, it's a curious question though. How much longer will people still mention? I know people don't like it being mentioned. But and the curious thing I was wondering, and you guys wouldn't be able to answer this, but I was curious, do folks in other markets that have had teams move there reference those teams. So do folks in Calgary reference the Atlanta Flames when they're mentioning some record of note? And I know that, obviously the Flames have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Or do people in Colorado mention the Quebec Nordiques?
Well, the reality is, Dave, when you're talking about the Calgary Flames, because how long were the Atlanta Flames in existence? 5 years?
I want to say it was I think it was like 8 years.
Okay, so 8 years, but then the Flames have been in existence for 40. We're talking 35, 40 years.
Yep.
So the likelihood of any record, being held by someone that played for the Atlanta Flames is non-existent, right?
True.
But you still have records now with the Jets when you're talking about, Blake Wheeler or somebody, or Brian Little or something like that.
Ilya Kovalchuk has all.
Right. So the way I look at it, as the years pass, however many years, 5 years from now, something like that, you're not really going to have you'll still have, some guys on the Thrashers who might have the odd record, but most of the records are going to be held by guys that played for the Jets. That's
like your boy Thorbs has in having the most penalties.
Does he still have the most penalties? I mean, the reality is the Jets don't have a lot of guys that take a lot of penalties, or if they have, those guys don't stick around, right? So maybe Lowry I'm sure Lowry's up there at this point.
Okay. I'm checking as we speak to get.
If I had to guess, I would say Lowry would be top 3 all time.
Thorburn most 832. Dustin Byfuglien second most 826. Eric Bolton, part of the Greek God line, 639. Blake Wheeler fourth, 604. Jeff Odgers fifth, 532. Garnet Exelby sixth.
Where's Lowry? Lowry's not even in the top 5. Wow.
Well, remember, Ezzy, that's the combined. So
Well, and Odgers, Exelby, those guys used to chuck the knuckles pretty.
Well, if you look again, if you look at
a Manitoban.
I think he was. I think he is.
But remember, the Thrashers also had like their winning percentage was. I think the Jets' winning percentage is about 550. I think the Thrashers was 447.
Something like that. We have to.
How are you going to segue to Regina here, Drew?
Well, there's sometimes.
Oh, you didn't do it, Drew. Whoa! Beep. Beep.
Yeah, we have a winner, don't we?
You even declare the winner yet? You did.
I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it because sometimes in life, the symmetry is just so perfect. The city of Regina the Tourism Regina, which was their tourism agency, has been rebranded to Experience Regina, and it's come under fire for some controversial new tourism slogans, such as, quote, "Show us your Regina."
Oh, Drew, I can't believe you're going to do this.
And the city that rhymes with fun. So they've had to apologize for those new tourism slogans.
Sorry, what? I don't get the second one.
The city that rhymes with fun. Regina, the city that rhymes with fun.
Oh.
Dolores.
Yeah.
If I have to use the Seinfeld reference.
I think it's funny.
Of course it's funny.
It's funny. Why not just have fun with it?
Because everybody has to get up in arms.
Actually, to be honest with you, the controversy is probably the best thing that's ever happened to them, because
I promise you, we wouldn't be talking about it if it was "come visit the Queen City" or some nonsense like that. But
or Canada's heart beats.
Yeah. Well, my point is,
or made from what's real.
Yeah, I mean, again,
what does that mean, Dave? Honestly, that doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. I think I'm made from what's real. If you cut me, I would bleed. So I think I'm real, but who knows?
I mean, I don't have an MBA, so I don't know what a good marketing slogan is, but I mean, I don't think those are good slogans. The Manitoba ones.
The reason why it fits in so perfectly with the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. Remember, show us your Regina, the city that rhymes with fun. The merchandise contest winner, and I swear to God, folks, this is completely random.
Dick ass man.
Don Glowbush. I mean, we didn't make this up. I mean, Don, congratulations.
It's over. Ring the bell.
I mean, it can't work any better than this. That this City of Regina nonsense comes out at the same time as Don Glowbush is the winner of tonight's Illegal Curve merchandise contest.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was staged, but it wasn't, of course.
Folks, if I'm offending you, I do sincerely apologize.
Yeah, you might be offending Don Glowbush because that's his last name, potentially.
That's true. And it's a normal...
You're not offending anybody, Drew. It's just funny. You're not saying anything
Drew,
inappropriate here. It's funny.
Drew, on the behalf of the city of Regina and Don Globush, I would appreciate an apology.
Okay, well, I will apologize to the city of Regina. I apologize to Don Globush. I think the
it could be pronounced
slogans,
Globush, not Globush.
Well, whatever it is.
For our purposes tonight, it's Globush.
For the purpose, when I was starting to
it's not a lie if you believe it, Dave.
Because when I saw this Regina story this afternoon, I was like, well, we have to bring this up just because it's so ridiculous.
That was made for you, Drew.
Right up my alley. Like just a fastball down the heart of the plate. And then it's only in the last 2 minutes that I actually saw the name of the merchandise contest winner. And when I saw the name of the merchandise contest winner is Don Globush, I was like, that's it. There's no way I'm mature enough to pass up this opportunity.
It's the cherry on top of a evening.
Yes, it is. And, look, the city of Regina, how could they be offended? That's the city that brought us Dick Assman back in the day. So we have Dick Assman, Show Us Your Regina, and Don Globush. So it's coming full circle today on the Illegal Curve post-game show. God help us all is really all I can say about that.
So good.
We are, so congratulations to Don. Dave will be in touch with you, of course, to hook you up with your Winnipeg Jets merchandise.
John Chan, by the way, didn't realize that he had won because, of course, when we announced that John Chan was the winner of the IC contest,
yes,
he was sleeping because of the time difference in
Singapore.
Yeah. But
I thought he was sleeping because he was watching the Jets power play, Dave.
That would be another reason to sleep as. But no, John Chan was excited to be a winner, and we've got a number of other winners that I've reached out to, and we'll be getting some of your merch out. And again, I understand if folks are still waiting for their merch. Trust me, it's slowly but surely getting taken care of. It's a lot of work for Dave M, and I'm trying to get it all handled. But don't worry, one of these days I'll get Ezzy in the van. We'll rent a van since I don't own one, but maybe we'll take Ezzy's.
I have a van.
Ezzy's got a van.
That's true. You got a van.
2017 Dodge Caravan, Dave.
Hashtag
you
someone's
can see
doing
him
well.
rolling. You've never seen a van with hydraulics in it before, but Ezzy's got the hydraulics rocking on that van.
A few years back, I was on Pimp My Ride, so I've actually got like a fridge and there's a foosball table in the van. It's great. Shout out to Exhibit. Thanks for pimping my ride.
Wow, that's an old school reference.
Alrighty, there you have it.
By the way, I do not have.
Just hit end show. Don't thank the sponsors. Just end the show.
Well, I will say quickly though, I do not, because people were asking. The Moose, of course, kick off their 8-game homestand tomorrow against Rockford, and some folks were asking if I had tickets to that game to give away in the Illegal Curve Zone. I do not. I just checked. I managed to, while Ezzy and Drew were bloviating, I managed to log into the account and check, and no such luck for tickets to tomorrow's game. But I do have tickets for the games this weekend because, of course, there's a game on Friday in a rematch against the Ice Hogs, and then they take on the Laval Rocket starting on Sunday, and that's a 2:00
Which
start.
is the Celebrating Women in Sport game with some proceeds going to Hockey Manitoba.
I was going to say I was going to allow you to take that one on as.
So that'll be women's hockey programs at Hockey Manitoba. That would be.
Yeah, it's going to grassroots female program.
There you go. Now we're talking.
It's not going to the Ginsburg Fund, Drew.
To answer Rob Mahoney, I do not have any tickets to give away to Cocaine Bear, but I do have some tickets to give away to the Moose game this weekend, Friday and Sunday. Should I make people wait, do you think, till Thursday? I mean, it's a little bit late. It's gonna be a late show.
Stay up late. They should have to stay up late to earn their tickets to the Moose game.
Unless you're really nice to me and then you send me an email, Dave@illegalcurve.com. I may consider it, but I also may make you wait till Thursday. So we'll see.
There you
have it. Are we going to see the Regina monologues on Thursday?
Somebody else mentioned the Regina monologues in the chat. So either you stole that or you.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it. That's
all. That's pure Ginsburg there, folks. A big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, who may be sincerely rethinking their sponsorship of this program after the last 10 minutes. Dr. Les Rikus and the team at Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, that's Frank and Mauro Zappia, Betway, they're the title sponsor of this fine program. Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, The Keg, and Tourism Regina support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve hockey. We'll be next in action on Thursday night, a late night, going to be around 11:45 p.m. Central Time. I'm not sure why I'm on the big screen, Dave, but I guess I'm getting all the glory. Why the hell
Give
not?
me the glory, why not?
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you then. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us feedback on the YouTube channel, leave us feedback on iTunes, leave us feedback everywhere you can find the podcast. Dave M's lost his mind. He's playing like a child. He's found a new toy. It's there you go. That's a good sign that it's time for us to wrap this thing up. We appreciate all you supporting us and joining us, whether you're in Argentina, Singapore, or all parts in between. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mindell.
Show us your Regina, Drew.
Until Thursday night, late night Thursday, we wish you good night and good luck. And thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow @Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.